So if I were to put these two identical looking bottles of Davidoff Cool Water right here, would you be able to guess which one's authentic and which one is fake? The front looks exactly same, so do the sides and so does the back. The heights of the bottles are exactly the same. The width or the breadth of the bottle is exactly the same. Now if I take off the cap, probably you would notice the first difference over here, and that is the size of the sprayer, but is that enough to spot a fake bottle and authentic bottle? Maybe not. Then if I also show you the bottom of both these bottles, you might notice that the format of the information looks different. But how do you say, or how do you tell which one's authentic and which one's not? And that's why it's so difficult, and it's because a lot of people don't know that a counterfeit fragrance is actually refilled in an authentic bottle. That's one little piece of information that I wish I knew earlier, because when I began collecting fragrances, I spent so many years just telling apart bottle differences. But what I didn't know is that the bottles and the shape of the bottles, the way the entire bottle is structured, the colors, is probably the most difficult to reproduce by a counterfeiter or by a person who sort of makes fake fragrances. And it's extremely difficult because the way the bottles are made are extremely nuanced. You might look at a Davidoff Cool Water bottle and think that, well, this isn't really rocket science. It looks really simple, and it's just a square bottle, a rectangular bottle with rounded edges and a standard black cap. But trust me, it's way more difficult to sort of counterfeit a bottle. So that's why what a lot of people do is either they have contacts in the factory. Again, this is another piece of information that I wish I knew earlier, is that the making of the bottle is sort of outsourced to different kind of manufacturers, and these manufacturers sometimes are known to leak bottles outside of the factory, and also a lot of bottles get thrown away annually, like in huge quantities. People for some reason don't have the heart to break these bottles, and these bottles end up getting thrown away, and people who are sorting the waste know that these bottles have some value and they make it up, but that's not a very reliable source. The biggest source is when they sort of leak off the factory, and right now you might think that this bottle looks a little different in its coloring, but that's also because of the fact that the bottle on the right is full to the top and the bottle on the left is almost empty. Now the bottle on the left, I bought it from an Indian website, and I'm going to not name the website deliberately. It smelled extremely different right from the beginning. Now, I have worn Davidoff Cool Water for many years. My father wore it, and that's why I got interested in it, and then I wore it for many years, and I began purchasing from duty frees, and when relatives used to travel overseas, we used to get bottles from duty free. But when I smelled the counterfeit, I knew that it was different, and this was actually gifted to me. So then I went on to question the person who gifted it to me, and I asked them that, where did you buy it from? And when they told me the name of the website, that I knew that this is one of the very popular websites in India that has been selling fake fragrances. And this is the second thing that you should know, is that the chances of buying a fake fragrance are higher when you get trapped into buying a tester. And this is something that counterfeit sellers will often take advantage of. We're always trying to get a better bang for our buck. We're always trying to get the cheaper fragrance even more cheaper. Even 500 rupees saved feels like a big accomplishment to us, and for the right reasons, right? We work very hard for the money. So not just in India, around the world too, but in India, from where this bottle came, It's a popular website that is known for its no questions asked money back policy, right? So if you have a problem with the bottle that you buy and you return it, you get your money back or you get another fragrance. Now, the one thing that you should know, that if you're buying a fragrance and it's a tester, okay, first of all, I would suggest that if you're new to buying fragrances, stick to buying fragrances from duty frees or reputable websites that you have bought from earlier. Or I'm not going to take any names of any websites, because trust me, I've had experiences of buying counterfeit fragrances from even extremely reputable websites, and the only place that I haven't had any problems with are duty frees. So if you have anybody traveling from overseas, get them to do you a favor and buy a bottle for them. But like I said, if you're just starting to buy fragrances and you're trying to buy your first bottle of cologne and you've saved up money, I would rather not buy from a place you've not bought before. But let's say you decide to go forward and buy from such a place, and you buy a tester. Now, what you will encounter in most of the places is that testers will be sold without the box. Okay, the bottle will just be sold either in bubble wrap or as wrapped in flimsy bits of paper, but it will not come with a box. And often, just for the fun of it, it won't even come with a cap. So most probably, if you buy a Davidoff Cool Water tester, this is what it looks like: no cap, no box, no bubble wrap, and that's about it. You get this bottle, you spray it on, it smells just like the Davidoff you've smelled on others, and you're good to go. You feel that you've got yourself a great bargain. But trust me, you're wrong, because if you're buying a tester, the one thing that you should know is that tester fragrances always come in a white box, which very specifically says that it's a tester. It talks about the brand and the product, and somewhere on the bottle and the box, it says very specifically that this is not for sale. And if you speak all of these languages, great, please teach them to me too, but I just speak the first. It says tester, not for sale. So that's one good sign that this bottle is an authentic tester. The other thing you should look out for is there will be a code printed on the bottom of the box. As you can see over here, there are a bunch of numbers, but the one that we're looking for specifically is called 9284, and this is the product batch code. And this batch code is used in the industry to sort of, if there's any problem with the product anytime, they can, using these numbers, track which country this was made in and what particular lot it was made from. So they can do it for a whole bunch of testings. But you want to look at this batch code, which is 9284, and then you want to look at your bottle. And if you're lucky and you've done good deeds, the number at the bottom of the bottle will match the box. So in this case, if you see, the number is having a hard time to focus, but I promise I'm not lying when I say that the number is 9284. There we go. 9284 is the number, and 9284 is the same number that's also on the box. Now, if you have a white box and if you have a bottle that matches the white box, it says 9284. Some bottles also say not for sale. In this case, probably behind the sticker, you should have a not for sale disclaimer written. Some inexpensive fragrances don't use that, but a lot of expensive fragrances, even the tester bottles say not for sale. So keep in mind, if you're buying a tester, it should come with a white box. It should come with a matching product code, and take it to a reputable place that you feel you can trust and sells authentic fragrances. Take this bottle along with you, and do a side-by-side comparison. So go to the mall, and just before you enter the mall and you're in your car, just do 2 sprays on your left hand, and then walk as quickly as you can to the store that you can trust, and do a spray 2 sprays on your right hand from the bottle in store. And trust me, you just don't want to compare the top notes, because most of these fragrances get away because they have really convincing top notes. What really matters is the entire journey. So Davidoff Cool Water on me lasts anywhere between 4 to 7 hours on a sunny, humid day. But during those 4 to 7 hours, it has a progression. It begins differently, it has a different mid phase, and it has a very different and distinct dry down. So what you want to do is you want to compare the 2 sprays from the bottle that you've bought with the 2 sprays of the bottle from the mall. Or if you have a friend who's bought this from the duty free, then you could compare it with his or her bottle, and I think that would also be a great idea. But to sum this up, keep in mind, you don't want to buy a bottle that comes without a box, especially if it's called a tester. Even if the bottle has not for sale written on the bottle, I would stay away from it if it doesn't have a box. For me, the ultimate test is if my bottle's batch code matches the batch code of the box, I would buy that fragrance and then I would compare. But if it just comes by itself and it tells you all sort of things, like the website tells you all sort of things like there's a money back guarantee and no questions asked, trust me, you're better off saving yourself all of that time, because probably I'll do a whole other video on what's really inside these bottles, because I have burned a lot of money buying counterfeit fragrances, and I have gotten to interact with people who are in this industry and who earn their bread, butter, tea and coffee through this industry of refilling. And if you're somebody who cares about your health and your skin and the environment, the kind of things that go in there would probably give you anxiety attacks to a whole other level. The fragrance inside the bottle of a counterfeit is not subjected to any kind of safety tests. It's not tested on skin, not tested on animals, which of course is a good thing, but this is not tested at all. So when you buy a counterfeit fragrance, and remember, if it's cheap, there's a reason behind it. Don't forget that.